Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, scholars. We're jumping into it because it's a little late at night and I need some recordings, and I keep stalling because, I don't know, trying to fast for 48 hours is messing with my head, and I'm like all over the place. Anyways, you know what's not all over the place? You subbing right now. That's right. Subscribe. You didn't expect it, but it was there. That's right. That's how quick it is. Fate be coming at you. That's right. Sub now. If you don't, you're not going to get those tier 5 rolls. That's right. You're going to be cursed. That's right. Sub now or you're not getting tier 5 loot. No. Very bold of me to assume that you'll care enough to try to go for the tier 5, but I'm going to curse you anyways. Okay. Anyways, we're done. We're going to watch another Dado video because, again, Dado kind of covers it. We're going to talk about not the exotic armor. Going back one.
The following video has all
going back one. But we're going to watch the big stat changes, which
the following video.
I want to say right now. Let's just be a little honest, little honesty session here, okay? Honesty session. Do I think this is going to save Destiny? No. Do I think this is going to bring new players in? No. Everything I have seen and heard so far about the tier, like the tiering system and the armor system, all it seems to do is benefit people like me who want things to grind, who want things to chase. The armor system is now amplified from what it was, which is great. Let me just say this right now. I think it's great. Anytime someone wants to come to the comment section in this video and say, you're just complaining, I want you to link this right here. I think the changes are meant for people like me, people who still play the game, and maybe even people who left the game who didn't have anything to chase. This will bring them back. But will this save Destiny? No. Will this bring new hordes of players in? No. I played this game. I played this series for 10 years. This is what you would expect in a reboot of the series, but this is not a reboot. You are still playing the same game with the long history of content that people still have to play and engage with and pay for. The reality is none of these changes is going to save Destiny. Is it good for me? Absolutely. I think it's going to continue to make me want to play the game. It's not, I don't think it's going to change the bottom line. The bottom line of people who are going to play will consume this and continue to play. But I don't see it like, oh, wow, here's new shinies. Come in, play this game. Guys, you've never played Destiny before? Come play. I don't think it's going to do that. I'm sorry. But I do think for people who loved it, Destiny, and grinded the hell out of it and then have abandoned it, this might encourage them to come back because it's new shiny, especially if you like playing looter shooters like Borderlands. This gives you something to chase and play. And I can see the armor and the weapon system being something that you can engage with for a while. At least the armor. Weapons, I don't think they're going to be nearly as big of an impact. I don't think so. Unless Bungie goes out there and makes it to where you can't upgrade any of the old weapons up to the next seasonal level. Like the only way you can hit the new seasonal pinnacle cap, which is like 400 or something, you can go up to 200, and after that you have to rely on upgrading your stuff with like seasonal stuff. If it's tied strictly to that and you can't use your old stuff to be able to play the grandmasters or contest mode stuff, I think it's going to be detrimental to the game. But we'll have to wait to see how it pans out. If you can continue, if I want to use my Fatebringer all the way through for the next 10 years, then I think it'll be fine. I think they're doing a good job with the tier system to encourage people to kind of want to, slightly upgrade, remove the old stuff. Like there may be a new gun that's just like Fatebringer, but it has all the extra sauces that tier 5 has. I can see myself getting rid of this, right? It won't happen. I'm never giving her my Fatebringer. I will continue to hold it forever. But we're going to get more details specifically on what some of these look like. But I just want to say right now, I don't think this is going to move the needle. I don't think it's going to save Destiny. I don't think this is something that you could see in part of a brand new like Destiny 3 or a reboot. I don't think it's good enough to reinvent the game though, completely.
Has all dialogue and subtitles turned off to minimize story spoilers. And welcome back to the show where I do in fact have time to explain. Today we're going over the stats revamp, armor and weapon changes, and just like a lot of gameplay related things. Stats are getting a pretty significant overhaul in the Edge of Fate. In addition to getting renamed very basic terms, the 6 stats will now be super, class, grenade, melee, weapon, and health.
Okay.
No more ambiguity there, although it does lose a little bit of the charm that the old terms had. Not only that, but stats now go up to 200, and each point matters individually, as small as a gain those single points might be. There are no more stat tiers dictating when you get a bump in effectiveness. So, what does each stat do? Health boosts the health you gain when you pick up an orb of power and reduces.
Okay. I just kind of wanted to read it. I know he's talking about it, but I like to read things. So health per orb. So you get, so it seemed okay. So it's recuperation is built into your trait. That's kind of interesting. So you get 70 health, which is pretty substantial. Increased amount of health you gain each time you pick up an orb. Reduces flinch from incoming fire. This is definitely going to be a PvP stat, or at least the flinch part is. Enhanced benefit. Your shield recharges more quickly and have additional health when facing combatants. Now, this is not resilience. You get 7 in your shield, and it's not at 200. I'm very interested. Like, the recharge rate is like recovery, essentially, on your shield. So that's essentially what recovery has now become, I guess.
Flinch from incoming fire. I wouldn't exactly call this what resilience turned into, but it's still a pretty defensively focused stat. Between health 101 and 200, you gained increased shield health and recharge rate. So it's kind of recovery-like.
Yeah.
This is one of a couple stats that I didn't really get to mess around with that much in my playtesting, and I chose not to test.
I don't know if I see
if
it being that good.
Stats were a bit more interesting to review, but it wouldn't surprise me to see people.
The only thing about this that it makes me interested is the health aspect. Like, it's only 125, was 200. Is this capped out at 70? Because if you can get like 100 health, that is pretty nasty.
Stacking this to be more of a PvP menace if the math happens to work.
Yeah.
Melee does what you would assume that it does. It reduces your melee cooldown. Not only that, though, it increases the amount of melee energy you gain from all sources.
Okay. So that's disgusting. So 190% from all sources. So like, I'm thinking your mods, your perks, and even just like your abilities as well.
Meaning your melee stat can scale with other perks that give melee energy. I'm thinking like a pugilist or something like that.
There you go, pugilist.
I did not get to test this to as heavy of a degree that I wanted to in my play session, but there is something that we'll get to that could give more insight.
By the way, 30% PvE damage. Like, I feel like they're going to nerf abilities and then try to kind of balance out the nerfs that they're going to do, because there's no way that like concentration slam is going to remain the same with 30%.
Into how potent this effect might be. From 101 to 200, you get a straight up melee damage increase everywhere in the game. At 200, it's 30% in PvE and 20% in PvP. And I'm pretty sure this scales linearly, much like all the other stats. So each point will give you, 0.3% of a boost in PvE and 0.2% in PvP. Grenade is the same as melee, reduces cooldown and scales other grenade energy sources. From 101 to 200, your grenade damage also increases. At 200, this is a 65% increase in PvE and 20% in PvP, scaling linearly.
60% on your grenade. I'm thinking like vortex nades, pulse nades. Holy. And in PvP, that's also going to be nasty because that means like grenades are going to be more potent too. Like, that's insane. Grenade builds just keep on winning. I think also for your turret builds for like Warlock, grenades are still just going to be the place to go.
Next, we have Super, which from 0 to 100 increases the amount of super energy from all sources. And from 101 to 200,
how big is this?
Increases the damage of your super. So this is something that I actually got to do a little bit of testing on to see how much of an increase in energy you're getting at a couple of stages. I think I tested 0 super, 100 super, and 200 super. Although now that I think about it, 100 and 200 super are effectively the same when it comes to the amount of super energy that you're gaining. Okay. That caps at 100. So really good job, me. I should have tested 50. That being said, the difference when picking up orbs is actually staggering. And the difference in gameplay between high and low super stat is staggering. When running with very little super stat, there would occasionally be times where I don't even feel like I got my super in a solo ops activity. It takes a notably...
So something, maybe he'll talk about it, but like, I'll give you a perfect example. When I just did Rights of the Nine, I did Prophecy and the Kel Echo, I was using Outbreak and just banging against the boss's head with nanites, and I got my super back because I was getting a bunch of hits on because of it. Is super still going to be tied to damage done? Because that's going to be a very important part.
Longer amount of time to get it.
Because if you can still get your super from damage, the end game will probably may not change too much. And so it's not going to be overly necessary to get to 100 unless the boost for increased super damage is that blatant.
Super at low super stat, whereas with a higher stat, it did feel somewhat frequent. This is part of why build crafting and your build crafting decisions matter so much more now, but let's finish talking about the stats and then I'll get into that. Class does the same thing as melee and grenade from 0 to 100, from 101 to 200.
Okay, so now everyone is just class. So you want to, your barricade, your rift, and then dodge, right? This is you're getting overshield when you you gain an overshield when you use your class ability. That's disgusting. Dodge and immediately get an overshield. Rift and get an overshield. Banner, you don't even have to run that anymore. You just get free overshield on banner. That's disgusting.
Gives you a scaling overshield whenever you use your class ability. Finally, a very new stat, weapons. From 0 to 100.
I've saw this. It's like a 15 to 30% increase, I think. I saw two different images on Twitter. This is going to be one of the must-have, like, this is an auto-include, just like how big adepts and major and all that. This is just going to be another must-have perk at all times for reloading and handling, like in PvP, PvE. This is going to be the guaranteed, everyone's going to try to go for 200 on the slot at all times. And it is insane that they would even make a... Why would you do this? Why? Knowing full well that this is going to be the auto, everyone's going to do it.
This increases your reload, handling, and damage versus minor and major combatants. Up to 15% on the damage side. From 101 to 200, you have a chance to gain more ammo from ammo bricks. And you also increase your weapon damage against bosses and other guardians. This also scaled linearly, where at 200 of the weapon stat, you would be doing 10% more heavy weapon damage in PvE and 6% in PvE. They call it heavy weapon. They didn't call it power weapon. They call it heavy weapon. 6% in PvE. And primary and special are doing 15% in PvE.
This might be updated because maybe someone showed an old build. Because I swear I thought I said it was 30%, but 15% sounds still disgusting. Yeah, I mean, 15, you take the 15. It's literally big adepts. Big adepts and minor spec and all that. Plus, this right here is going to be very important.
Also 6% in PvP. I am very interested to see how this stat ends up playing out. I'm also interested to see how future damage tests are going to go. I'm going to propose that damage tests do not build over 100 of the stat, and then we just add in the increase after the fact. But I relinquished my place in that fight a long time ago. I don't think it's even up to me anymore. Armor also has masterworking, where you can increase the masterwork bonus 5 times. Every time you masterwork, you will gain 1 stat in the 3 lowest numbered stats on the armor piece. At higher tiers of armor, it might just be tier 5. I'm not sure.
That kind of sucks, because you'd hope that you could control that more. So now you're guaranteed to have wasted stats. Because maybe I don't give a shit about super. I mean, maybe I'd rather, maybe I'm looking at this wrong and it's just, you're getting extra, right? Maybe I'm thinking of it, you're just getting like the +3. It's now plus whatever. I would have preferred that you could control exactly where every point went, but I digress.
Not only do you get 1 additional energy going from 10 to 11 energy, but there's also another mod slot to fine tune your stats. You can choose to add 5 of the stat, which costs 5 of.
So, okay, going to tier 11 energy is a tier 5. Gotcha.
Of another stat, or you can choose to increase your lower stats by 1 more point each. In total, with this bonus stat slot and masterworking, you can add 40 extra stats onto your armor. Although most of those will be buffing stats that you're not actively building into, but everything helps, as we're about to discuss. So let's get back to that whole build crafting actually matters now statement from earlier. When an armor piece drops, it will drop with a high amount of its main stat and a medium amount of a secondary stat. But there are only so many stat combinations that will be in the game when Edge of Fate drops, and I'm not sure how often Bungie will introduce new combinations. For example, Grenadier armor drops with high grenade, medium super, and a low amount of a third random stat. All other stats are set to 0. Paragon drops with high super, medium melee, and low random. I say high, medium, low. It's 30.
Okay, so you instead, it's kind of like how it's more controlled versus what it is now. Right now, if you choose like I want to focus on high stat discipline, I can get at least +10 guaranteed in discipline, and then it takes the top 3 resilience, recovery. Sorry, I take that back. No, that's correct, because it's discipline, melee, super. What am I missing here? Resilience, recovery. What am I missing here? Yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything. So it'll take the top 2 and randomize those stats. And you just got to hope that you get what you want out of that instead of like the bottom. Like, it seems more controlled. Like you're guaranteed you're going to get this and then this and this, and then you're not wasting any stats in the rest, which is great until you masterwork it. I like that. Again, that's a win more for me, because that lets me control a little bit better what I want. And I know I don't need that much. Like I have a lot of Grenadier and I want to focus on weapon next. I can focus on the thing that's going to give me most weapon, but also maybe a tad bit more Grenadier, like grenade energy. And you can kind of like mix match that. I like that. That is chef's kiss. But again, that's win more for me, who was already playing the game. Maybe not so much for new players. I'm going to say right now, I think this is going to turn off a lot of new players. This is going to turn off a lot of casuals, because it's no longer a casual game. And I'm going to say this, and it's going to piss people off. I don't think it needs to be a casual game. I think it shouldn't be a casual game. I think having a reason to play is always a good thing. Even if you are a casual, you now have a reason to chase and play some armor. And if you do, you're rewarded with better, like the stats matter. If it was the old system, I would say, why should you have to regrind armor? It's stupid. There's reason to do it, because not only you get set bonuses, but you also get kick-ass bonuses that actually matter. I don't know. I think this is a win for me.
25-20. As a result of these stat changes, I don't think there are really any dead stats anymore.
Exactly.
Everything is kind of important, and sacrifices will now need to be made when build crafting. If you want high grenade and melee capabilities,
we're now at the point where everything is good. So now you have to choose out of all that's good, what do you want? Because you're not going to be able to have weapon, health. Oh, you like that health regen, picking up orbs, 70 health. Oh, what about grenade build? Want to do more? Or your supers now? Super actually matters. Intellect was like an insta avoid perk or stat that no one gave a crap about except for PvP. And it was just neglected. Same thing with like melee sometimes, depending on your build, or grenade. Like there's certain things that you could just auto ignore. Like, or if you're a Titan, you didn't give a shit about recovery because you're just popping your towers and doing whatever you got to do. Like, this actually makes it to where every class cares about every stat in some way regard. And sure, you may not need the melee grenade damage, so you can ignore that. You can maybe sacrifice those two and focus on class instead, or focus on health if you really want that for like PvP. Mwah, chef's kiss. I like this. This is better. I just don't know from a new player standpoint how like invested. I think if a new player comes from like Diablo or other actual MMOs and they see this, they're gonna be like, okay, this looks like something that I'm down for. This is something I can chase. So I think people who are already playing MMOs or games like this where there's set bonuses or there's specific stats that you have to build into, and I think they're going to be right at home with this. And so maybe in that regard, they will pull some more people from the MMO space. I don't know. We'll have to see. But you're doing this in a 7-year-old game. I don't know. It's hard to convince people to come back to an old game. It's easier to do a new game and showcase it to the world and be like, okay, new game, I'm in. I'm at the same bar as everyone else.
Some other stat is gonna suffer. If you want high health and weapons, other stats are gonna suffer.
Yep.
No longer can we just stack resilience, recovery, and either discipline or strength.
There it is.
Call it a day. Mobility and intellect are gone or reformulated to have value, and you're not gonna be able to have everything all of the time, at least at the lower tiers of gear. I do think that this makes the space a little more interesting, though. You gotta make some decisions. You gotta make some real armor builds, not the same two variants for every single setup across every single class. To some people, this is gonna seem incredibly daunting, but to others, way more engaging.
Yeah,
but let's talk about why you don't need to panic about farming new armor just yet. Recently, at least on my streams, I've been telling people to delete tons of old armor as we go into the Edge of Fate, because prior to this preview event, I was of the mind that this armor transition would be similar to the transition of armor 1.0 to 2.0. You could still use armor 1.0, but it was outclassed so quickly that it became outdated almost immediately.
It's true.
I was surprised that
it was the only reason people kept old armor is because you could stack different mods back in the day to do cheesy stuff. And Bungie since then went and like cleared all that out. Like, no. You can't do, like, I think traction was still on some stuff. There was a lot of stuff that you could do cheesy wise that people did try to take advantage of. What is artifice armor? This armor contains a bonus socket that can be used to allow you to slightly modify its stats. Okay, so interesting. So you do get a bonus slot.
Event to see that my current day artifice armor was not only not outclassed immediately, but actually still kind of good. Your current day armor is being converted pretty generously when it comes to total stats, and there's going to be a lot of people out there who continue to use that armor.
Yeah, 63 total, 63. Okay.
For quite a while into the Edge of Fate. I think once maybe the more hardcore players start seeing tier 4, tier 5, maybe more average players start to see tier 3, that's when the conversion is going to start to happen. Total stats will start to increase on individual armor pieces, eclipsing the older armor, but it will happen much slower than the previous armor update. That being said, I do think people should be clearing old unused armor out of their vaults in preparation for the expansion, but I've also been saying to keep a few armor sets that you are actively using to hang on to in this transition period. Your old armor will be relevant for much longer than I anticipated, so...
And this is why I don't delete anything unless I really need to, and I don't listen to streamers. This is why I don't listen to streamers, and I literally make my own, I focus on my own intelligent decisions. I wait to see things, not what Mr. Dado decides. Like, I'm so glad, and I feel like a lot of people probably felt that way also about deleting old guns, especially the ones that had like all the cool collectibles that now are usable again. Like all the Black Army weapons. A lot of people still have those. And you could use them, not to say that they're not out, like obviously bad or they're not good anymore. I mean, most of them are probably overshadowed, but there's some that are still bangers you could still use still effectively and just being able to use that collectible and say, haha, I've got this, you don't. Like, it hurts. But that's why I always take what other people say with a grain of salt.
I apologize for earlier advice that I was giving. I jumped the gun a little bit there, but I still think you should clear some stuff out. On top of that.
Oh, okay. So it does use Ascendant shards. I was wondering, because I remember watching the other video where he talked about Pennant power level. Masterworking still uses the Ascendant shards. I got those mixed up for some reason, which is interesting. Yeah.
We have set bonuses of varying quality. There are 2-piece and 4-piece set bonuses so that you can still use an exotic.
This Bushido one is going to be god tier for my Stronghold Titan sword build. Just the final blows temporarily reduce incoming damage. Stacking that with flash counter. Oh, unless they nerf it, in which case I will cry inside. But this is perfect. Damaging targets with those weapons extended effect. Like getting one kill, like I could just sword to kill something, get this activated, and just sit there and block, and then flash counters doing tick damage to everything. So the effect is continuing to go on, so I'm doing more damage. Oh, this set is just, I'm going to make the perfect Stronghold build with this set alone.
Although I wouldn't be opposed to a 5-piece set bonus, with the 5-piece bonus being some kind of exotic quality bonus.
That'd be cool.
You can mix and match 2-piece set bonuses if you would like as well. I found myself on Bushido armor most of the time. Bushido 2-piece is where my final blows with freshly drawn or reloaded weapons heal me, and the 4-piece is where bow, shoddy, or sword final blows reduce incoming damage for a short time, and damaging enemies with those weapons extends the effect. I just found the 2-piece bonus to be globally useful during the event to kind of minimize my downtime.
I mean, the fact that you can just shoot your gun at something and then immediately reload in a panic, that's definitely something. It's he'll clip the armor.
Renewals 2-piece is where rockets and GL kills give you speed booster after sprinting, while the 4-piece will give you
what after a final blow, rocket increase. I don't see this being good. I don't think they're ever being, like, maybe for PvP. I think maybe there's a shout for people who play PvP, but man, I'm sorry. Nothing about this gets me excited at all.
Speed booster when you sprint at critical health or after being suspended or slowed by stasis, assuming you have force converter active, which is the 2-piece bonus. This is incredibly conditional when you first hear it, but there are a decent amount of strand and stasis enemies in the Edge of Fate, so maybe it'll be better than I anticipate. Techx 2-piece bonus is where you deal significantly more.
I literally just went so fast in my testing that the armor never loaded with set bonuses. Okay. You deal significantly increased kinetic damage to combatant shields, overshields, vehicles, and constructs. Again, they really want constructs to be good, don't they? Defeating powerful combatants or breaking a combatant shield with kinetic damage releases a disorienting kinetic shockwave. So it feels like it's kinetic tremors built in. Yeah, it feels like extra. I don't see, and like if the damage is that good, like disorienting means they're also kind of like blinded. Like it's like flash counter. in which case that could be useful for crowd control, but you have to defeat powerful combatants with your gun. It doesn't say anything specifically involving kinetic weapons. Oh, yeah, it does. Or breaking combatant shields of kinetic. Okay, so it has to be a kinetic damage. Yeah, so it is definitely going to be your kinetic weapons. Yeah, I could see the top part being useful just for shields and overshields. But I don't see this bottom half being as good unless that blind radius is really good.
Kinetic damage to shields, overshields, vehicles, constructs. The vehicle and construct cope continues. We will see what's up there. The 4-piece bonus is pretty nice, though. Defeating powerful combatants or breaking a shield with kinetic damage does a disorienting...
The problem is Bungie needs to make like more things can be considered as constructs. Like Shrieker Eyes, I don't know if they are considered constructs. I would say Shanks should be absolutely constructs, especially the boss Shanks. Oh, that needs to be considered like, yeah, constructs. They're literally machines, but who am I?
Kinetic shockwave. The last discipline set, also PvP, maybe more of a generic.
Final blows of primary ammo grant you primary ammo weapons temporarily increase reload speed. Picking up a orb power grants special ammo progress. Yeah, this is definitely PvP. Like, because you want to be able to boost your stuff as quickly as possible. PvP. PvE, yeah, I guess.
PvP set. 2-piece gets you improved reload speed on primary weapon ammos when you get final blows with primary ammo weapons. That's pretty decent overall. And 4-piece picking up an orb of power gives special ammo progress. Also pretty decent overall. Oh yeah, special ammo progress. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's definitely PvP.
You will now have 2 ammo meters under your weapons. As
Thank
you fill
God.
These meters by getting...
Holy, how hard was it to figure this part out? The visual indication, that's just beautiful, man. That's the quality of life we've needed for 10 fucking years.
Weapon kills. You will be progressing towards your next ammo brick of that type, guaranteed to drop when the meter is full. You can read more about this information in this wonderful help menu that Bungie has implemented on weapons.
This is cool and all, but you know what's even better? Destiny Rising, where it actually explains everything in a tutorial, which is something that they should do, is tutorialize everything for the new player experience.
Hit W on the keyboard or whatever it says on console, and you'll be greeted with some basic information about...
Okay, I do like the fact that the perks explain like in detail. Like that is something that is really good.
How things work. Finally, some information nicely organized to explain some basics to people. It explains weapon elements, tiers, perks, mods, infusing, masterworking.
I still think Destiny Rising shows you how to do mods and infusing and all that stuff. They need to do the same tutorials. Like, this is great and all. This is like a Band-Aid fix. They need a fully fleshed out tutorial, in my opinion, though.
Cosmetics, granted all very briefly.
And I want to say it now, you should be able to replay that tutorial if you come back and you forget, like, how the hell do I play this game? You should be able to go back, especially if they update those tutorials with new stuff. You should be able to go and replay it like a mission and re-engage all these tutorials to catch back up.
But I wasn't expecting high-level breakdowns of this information in a quick help menu. It's also there to explain a bunch of armor stuff too. So, what's going on with weapons now and weapon tiers and all that kind of stuff? Honestly, it's pretty easy to explain. Basically, the higher the tier of the weapon, the higher the odds that you either get...
So let's see, tier 1 base stats, tier 2 enhanced trait 2, tier 3 enhanced trait 2 multi-perks, so more than one, tier 4 enhanced trait, multi-perk, enhanced mods, magazine, and barrels. And tier 5, you get the whole shebang plus a origin trait and the hollow chip, which I don't know what that is, and a unique ornament, which is what I'm assuming that all the guns have been looking at, like the hollow look, hollow foil look. Most weapons that are carrying over are going to be tier 3. So that means we're not going to get enhanced mods, magazine barrels. Here's where I think that people shouldn't be so scared or so quick to delete their stuff. Everything that is good now will still be amazing when this expansion comes out. You will have to, in my personal opinion, it like, again, the Fatebringer. You have Fatebringer, say Fatebringer's tier 3, even though it should be tier 4 in my opinion, because it's literally a raid weapon and it's adept. But let's just say for giggles, tier 3. In the future, there's a new 140 kinetic that has either the same perks or better. Then yes, you could delete your Fatebringer and then focus on the new 140 that does the exact same thing currently that your Fatebringer does, and then chase a tier 5 to get all the cherries on top. But if there's no longer, like, if there isn't anything currently that could replace the gun you have and it's already best in slot, until something else replaces it, there's no reason to farm. Like, your S tier weapons are still going to be S tier, even if they're tier 3. Everything else is like cherries on top. You don't need enhanced mods or whatever those are going to be, magazines or barrels. You don't need those. Maybe for PvP, you could say that could give you, that's like a win more situation, especially if you're already an S tier PvPer. The enhanced origin trait. All this is just cherries on top, especially the cosmetics. That's the extra for your most dedicated farmers and looter shooters. Like the people like me who have no reason to do it, but we're still going to chase. But if you're a casual and new player, this is going to seem overwhelming to you because you're like, oh, I have to delete my stuff. The reality is you could probably use tier 3 for the next several years and still be okay. The problem is whether they let you infuse and upgrade it to the next light level, or they cap it out at 200 and you can't use it for the season stuff because they want you to force you to use the other stuff. That is not something he's really said yet. Maybe he will. I don't know.
More perk options on the weapon, more enhanced perks on the weapon, maybe even both. This continues up to enhanced origin traits, barrels, magazines for like tier 4 all the way up to tier 5, which completely enhances everything on the weapon and gives it a special tier 5 ornament and cosmetic kill effect. So like whenever you kill something, you get a little animation.
I wasn't going to start ranting because I saw Hollow Chip and I thought it was going to be this stupid wing bullshit again, but it's kill effects. Okay, we kind of have that right now with the silly confetti mod. So that's pretty cool that it's built in.
Or whatever that says like, I'm using a tier 5 weapon. Now, I have been informed that this tier 5 treatment is just the treatment that all tier 5s get. Not in this expansion, but this expansion and the next one and all future ones.
Okay. Improves base weapon stats. Again, for PvP, this might be the, gravy. For PvE, I do not see this being necessary. Just looking at it already, nothing screams this is, you gotta have this base stats. Like, oh.
And the feedback has
improved. Again, everything is just improved base stats.
That players would probably like to have unique tier.
Improve perk damage. Okay, so that might be beneficial, but I don't think it's a must-have. Interesting.
5 weapon ornaments on a per season basis. I would be surprised if people did not want that. So don't say I never did nothing.
I was listening to what he's saying. So essentially, this is the treatment that tier 5 will forever have. Why? There's no shot, Bungie. You could treat this like, oh yeah, everything's blue for the rest of Destiny's existence. Tier 5s are just blue. At least be lazy and make it green. Make different colors of it if you're going to be that lazy. Like, there's no shot. Sparks Everlasting. Applying this mod to a celebratory visual effect when defeating combatants. This mod can only be applied to tier 5 weapons. I wonder if they're going to let Silly Confetti be a mod here. I hope they do. That'd be really cool.
Nothing for you. Tier 5s also get enhanced weapon mods. Right now, I would say a fully crafted, fully enhanced weapon nowadays is around a tier 2, tier 3, something like that. Probably closer to tier 3. Those weapons will be more than plenty for the
He intentionally skipped his midnight coop, and I wonder why.
Majority of the game. I guess we should speak about crafting though. Here's what I heard about crafting.
Nothing. He heard nothing. Oh no. I knew the tier system was replacing crafting. I knew it.
That's it. I didn't hear anything about crafting for the Edge of Fate besides
one
exotic weapon. I'm going into this expansion with the mind that
wait. Who's showcasing? I want to see that.
I didn't hear anything about crafting for the Edge of Fate besides one exotic weapon. I'm going into this expansion with
that's this right now. Let's see. It's masterwork. I don't think you can enhance any of these yet. No. Yeah, it just looks like the most bare basic thing, huh?
That there will be none weapon crafting. I've had some discussions about any potential future plans for it, but there wasn't anything really that concrete. So I'm going to wait for Bungie to make official statements on weapon crafting instead of trying to put words in their mouth. But I would be going into the Edge of Fate assuming that there is no crafting. Oof. Speaking of weapons, though, we do have some new weapon archetypes. The rocket-assisted pulse rifle, the Spreadshot hand cannon, and the longbow, which is kind of like if they turned Wish Ender into a legendary archetype.
Okay, that's cool.
The rocket pulse fires 3 bursts of rockets, but the pull of the trigger counts as 1 ammo. So I think this had like 17 or 18 bursts of ammo. And this thing hits pretty hard.
So it essentially... Hey, what if we turned the sidearm rocket that everyone loves and made a pulse rifle the same way? And it's a 3 burst. That's interesting. And it's a special weapon? That's interesting.
But you will tear through your ammo really quickly if you're not paying attention. The Spreadshot hand cannon is essentially a shotgun in a hand cannon package. And
that's actually badass. It's like a buckshot. Like Call of Duty has buckshot hand cannons, where you can just go bop and just kill someone, but you have to barrel stuff them. So that's kind of like, ooh, would I use this? And if it's really strong up close, then maybe. I'm also thinking, what about using this with, God, what is the Hunter exotic? It's been so long, where you do as much damage as you do, the increased damage you do, like it multiplies. Someone's going to tell me in the comment section. That is what I'm interested in with this gun. If it does a lot of upfront damage and you can increase the damage with those exotic boots and just by barrel stuffing like champions, oh baby.
Includes this thing's range. It is very short range. It is a close range hand cannon at best, as the range fall off starts very early. It can also roll with 1-2 punch. That's kind of neat. The longbow, on the other hand, has a slightly longer draw time than an average.
Wait, 1-2 punch, so you could use this as a pseudo shotgun?
Bow, but it can over penetrate targets, so you can hit multiple enemies at the same time if they happen to line up. There are new perks and origin traits as well. I didn't do a ton of theory crafting on any of them, save for like 2 of them, so I guess we can talk about those. We got binary orbit, elemental final blows from the opposite element of the current weapon.
Hey, wayframe. We got no fucking way. Thank you, Jesus. We've got cold steel and flash counter, and it's on a wayframe. It looks like a shitty sword, but I don't care. The perks, the gods have given me the build. I can use Stasis Titan now. I can use Stasis Stronghold. Ooh! I'm gonna be chilling shit while blocking shit. Oh, sorry.
It gives you a damage boost to.
I just want you to know that this sword is, I'm more excited about this one sword than everything else the expansion probably will provide. How do I get this sword? I've got a boner for it.
this weapon. So like this weapon is strand, aka darkness damage, so light weapon kills will boost this one. Impromptu ammunition. Final blows increase ammo meter progress from all sources for a brief duration. I tried this one in the shooting range. Either it wasn't working at all, or I was doing...
If the sword comes from the expansion, you've got my money already.
Something wrong, I'm not sure. Burning Ambition is an incandescent competitor. Sustained damage on a target scorches the target, and dealing damage to a scorched target inflicts scorch. I think I tested this with a pulse rifle with 13 bursts, and on that final burst is when an ignition went off. So that should give you a rough idea of how long it takes to get an ignition, although I don't remember if I was on any sort of solar subclass, fragments, blah, 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 you get it.
Ew. That's worse than jolting feedback. Ew. That's disgusting. It's I thought I was excited when I saw it in the trailer, but this looks bad.
Blast Distributor, dealing splash damage, grants an
Ayo, micro missile frame. We've got an arc one. Mountaintop has a cousin now, and it looks disappointing unless there may be perks that are missing here, but so far, yeah.
Proved bonus to the grenade stat. If this works like the melee variant of this perk, it will stack to 3x.
Wow.
Proximity power is the melee version. When targets are nearby, final blows grant bonus melee stat, and it stacks to 3.
Wow.
Tested this with hammer throw. Base hammer throw was 334 damage at 97 melee stat, so we have 0 bonus melee damage from our stats. With 1 stack, it's 351, aka a 5% boost in melee damage. With 3 stacks, it's 386, aka a 15% boost. Why did I not try 2 stacks? I don't know, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say that it's a 10% damage boost.
Interesting.
Sharp Harvest. 3 light attacks within a short window grants special ammo. That is a sword perk. Built to blast, aim assist, stability, and flinch resistance.
I don't think I'm ever going to be using that sword perk. I'm sorry.
When you have either Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or a Void Overshield. Thematically interesting, not sure how much it's going to hold up in PvE world. I know I'm missing at least one more perk. There's a perk that boosts your weapon stat.
Transcendent Moment. Final blows grant bonus stat based on weapon damage type alignment. Light element grants stability handling. Dark element grants range and aim. While Transcendent, this weapon gets both bonuses. So they're still building into Transcendent, which is pretty interesting. Gonna have to say mid. This is mid.
That's based on if it's like light or dark.
It's mid.
Transient something. I don't know. For the life of me, I could not find it in any of my footage. Someone else definitely has it. It's not elemental capacitor. I think that's what I said in a previous video. It's something different. Moving to origin traits. Exhaustive research loads a micro rocket into your weapon if you aim at a target for a brief time.
That's cool.
I didn't hate this. It's basically free damage.
It's free. Yeah, that's pretty good.
This is a good one. Sustained damage on a champ, a mini boss, or a boss exhausts them and gives you weapon handling and reload speed bonuses for a short time. It is Diet Facet of Solitude built into a gun.
Because you're increasing your handling reload so you can continue to spam that. And then you're reducing the outgoing damage. Like, this is better than Slice. Like, why would I was talking about using this in like Slice on primary weapons, but like, this is just free Slice. Even if it's like Slice at home, it is still better. Holy problem solver, kind of saucy.
Vanguard Determination. After using your class ability, final blows with the weapon give you bonus damage resistance. Not too bad either. That is only some of them. I just didn't get clips of every single thing because there was a lot to cover and I just missed some stuff. So yeah, there's more that I'm sure somebody else has definitely covered.
Yeah, it looks good.
I think that is the end of this video on...
Yeah, I mean, this is about 48 minute, but this is me dissecting everything, right? It's not just me letting him regurgitate everything that he says. Like, I could just record his video and take it. But this is my reaction for someone who has 10K hours in Destiny. Just Destiny 2 alone, not including Destiny 1. These changes look great for me. New players, I don't know. I feel like the lack of crafting and making people feel a little bit worse. The fact that crafting might be considered under like level, though, again, I think it's kind of like, I think people are going to be fooled that they're going to think that they need tier 4 and 5. I think anything tier 3 and even 2 is fine. I don't think you need it, even if you want to be sweaty. I don't think you need it. You could still probably do day ones just fine. Contest mode. You could do Grandmasters. You don't need to sweat this. It's for people who want to do like low mans or solos, or just want to be as efficient as possible to guarantee a world's first. Those are the people that are going to min-max every little thing, but you don't have to. I think weapon-wise, you don't have to. Armor-wise, there's definitely going to be a lot more argument to say that you do want to min-max, and people are going to be more picky about your loadouts. I'm sorry to say it, casual players, people who use LFG, people are going to look at you, they're going to eagle eye your loadout, your armor, and they're going to say, your stats are all over the place. You don't have this specific build. You're not running this. Like, what's that? You're not running max weapon. Get the hell out of my thing. You're not part of my raid team. You're not doing this master raid. Get out of here. We need people to be able to survive. You need to have 100 health or 200 health. Sorry, bye-bye. Like, I completely concede that this is going to open up a can of worms that I don't think Bungie is expecting. And I can already see it. And it's going to force people to have to grind specific, like I said, loadouts. Like, weapon is going to be a must. I do believe it without a shout out. Having 100 or 200 in your weapon slot for that increased damage, people are going to want it. Even if you don't need it, people are going to want it, and they're going to expect you to have it, especially the min-max like contest mode. They're going to demand you have it or you're not on their team. It's, I maybe I'm wrong, but I've kind of been, around LFG for many years. Even when I'm not playing my clan, I'm in there. I'm experiencing the world of Destiny, not from a streamer point of view where I can just have my community carry me or I can join them. This is where I'm in the dirt and the mud with everyone. I'm more able to understand how the main community is feeling. And so when I say that this could be good, but also bad, that's why, because I know how people think in this community and how they react. And as a new player, I feel like you're also going to feel overwhelmed because you don't know what's good. I'm a veteran. I can tell you which stats are probably going to be good for what build and what you should focus on. A new player has no idea. What should I do? What should I go for? And I don't think the game's going to do a good enough job to explain that and encourage people to focus on specific things. It just doesn't teach people enough to understand the game. And that's where I'm saying, I don't think these changes will save Destiny. I don't think it's going to bring new people in. I think it's going to keep people like me who continue to play it extremely happy. This is essentially the carrot on the stick is old and moldy. Bungie's finally taking it off and putting a new stick for people like me who play Borderlands and other looter shooters who want something to chase. They finally replaced the carrot. It's no longer moldy. It's fresh until people get what they need, and it's no longer fresh. That's all it is. It's a reset on people who are addicted to the game already, and that's the reality. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Let me know what you think about the changes. If you don't play Destiny, is this enough to bring you back? Or if you're a new player and you're like, I just kind of lurk and watch these Destiny videos, I don't actually play it myself. Let me know what you think. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Again, Dato's video will be down below if you want to watch it out without me breaking down everything. You just want to watch it. It'll be in the link down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time, peace.